Buttering, get to be here, my bro. Tune down for the Hi-Fi Radio. Murdy order, my brother. Yes, I had a good day today. People are using me as a translation service. Hope they're not listening. Kia ora, Pevi. Par hei aha, mai a te mahi. Koe amu. You get paid. Kia ora, Kylie. Me atua nei tuahine. Kia ora, tātou. How was our day today? Ngāti Tūreiti, kia ora. Koiara, renata. Kei te takahi tonu ana I te mata o te whenua. Kia ora, kia au tonu tātou katoa. Tēnā koe, Miracle. Kia ora rā. Blessed to have you on the mata o te whenua, my bro. Kia ora, Talia. Ngā mi o te wā. How was Maurako? Yeah, we beat ourselves up. Kia ora, Ali. Well, we didn't beat ourselves up. We're just trying to increase that cardiosis. I'm so unfit, man. Like, but, you know, started to get into the groove of things. New whare every night. Kyle? Same whare. Kia ora, Tyler. Tēnā koe. You interviewee every night. Aye. Has everyone had a good day today? Tēnā koe, Tamara. No mai hoki mai. The same ones that keep coming back, you know. Kia ora, Vision. I've added a new intro, so I'm getting a bit flash. Oh, this is your new whare every night. Ka pai. Kia ora, ex-flinted. Kia ora rā. So, manuhiri. Kia ora, Tina. Our manuhiri tonight is Ngarino, and his page goes by Te Whare Aio. I'm looking forward to having a chat with him. We've met in person, but we've only it wasn't a quick one. We only met at the airport. And yeah, so this is the next time that we meet up again. Ni puku mahi rawa mātai te kura I tēnei rā. Ngā mi kia rangi nui te ua. Oh, I ua, I heke mai a ua I tō wāhira. Kari konei. Kia ora, Aria Renz. Massive. Love listening and watching his kōrero. Wicked. Ka whai au iaia? You will or you are? It's been raining day in Whanganui-a-Tara. Maybe you have some hara to wash away. We've got some fine tunes by the man Chefu. Anyway, we've got a decent amount of people in here at the moment. Let's just do a quick wrap up of Peter's kōrero that we had yesterday. Okay, so our kia ora e mara, tēnā koe. Went to Hineira with him last year and loved it. Oh, kia ora, Vision. I did have a good day. It was good. I always have a good day. I love my mahi. I find like I'm in a good space. The mahi that I do, it's quite rewarding. Very rewarding. Okay, so Peter's kōrero yesterday was actually one of my favorites. Now, look, there may be some of you who have been interviewed before, but Peter and I have been in many lives, and we've got this natural chemistry. So it just we know how each other operates, and we know where to toe the line and when to pull back and to be serious, but also to have a good laugh. So we had a really good kōrero with Peter yesterday. Mera Maxi, tēnā koe hoa. Okay, so like many of our interviewees, Peter was raised in Te Reo Māori. Ki ngā reke o ōna kaumātua, ōna kuima, ōna koroma. But the space that he was brought up, tēnā koe tūku, didn't allow him to connect to his old Māori, like consistently. He may have been able to do it at kohanga reo, but there was like a break that he had until he was able to come back and connect to his te ao Māori later on in life. But he was always involved, I suppose, in some of the, the processes, getting understanding of tikanga and te mea. So, what I identified in him is that he is a tohunga whakahaere tangihanga. But it's not just that it's the tangihanga, it is the tangihanga is actually just the event. What the tangihanga does is that it gives us an insight into te ao Māori. Like if you want to see what te ao Māori looks like, the tangihanga and, given they're carrying out the appropriate protocols, that's the best insight into what te ao Māori is like. Kia ora brother Ngāri no tēnā koe. So ka utonu tēnei waka I te hau whā mai te iwa. They have a hapu a roto in Ngāti Hine, which absolutely sounded to me like a whole bunch of gatekeeping. But he explained that it was like a hapu within a hapu. Obviously, this comes as iwi constructs of, treaty engagement, treaties, whatnot, tebe, which is kind of like Ngāti Whakaue, if we think about it. Ngāti Whakaue is, I suppose we consider it a hapu, but in its own right is a collection still of different hapu. I've always kind of wondered that. Anyway, so apparently it is tikanga that if you were born out of wedlock, you may be whāngai to another whānau member. Very interesting. His whakatau aki, or whakatau ki, rānei. So just for anyone that doesn't know what the difference is between a whakatau aki and whakatau ki, and the reason why I say it is that a whakatau aki is someone that is a proverb or saying where we know where the kōrero comes from. Very famous one of this is he ao te rangi kauhia mā te huruhuru te manu karere. And that comes from my ancestor from Te Wairua, called Tama Te Rangi. I don't know what the application specifically that in which he used it, but that's a whakatau ki. A whakatau ki is when the source of that kōrero is ambiguous. We're not quite sure. Some people go under Ngāti Hine rather than Ngāpuhi. Yes, I have heard of the desire to separate and have dominion over their own affairs. And pai. Kei te pai tēnā. I like it. Why, just to speak on behalf of our area here, my uncle, who's the māngai of our marae, said that no other people are going to speak on behalf of our marae other than our marae. What that's done is that it's created a settlement trust of 23 trustees, where each marae get to represent their own marae. So I understand that sentiment there, Juan. I get that completely. Oh, kia ora, Andrea. Ai, tika. Pleased to meet you too. Did you go to Te Wairoa? To Sento Whanti? What am I after? What is your request? What are you after? What is your request? Dear sir? Okay, so his whakatau ki, because they know that it come from Te Aupōuri, they just don't know where it come from. Whakananua te mātauranga ki te wehi o ngā atua hei kōrito e puta ake ai te tino tamaiti Māori. And still the combined knowledge of our ancestors to imbue or to create a nucleus to manifest the optimum Māori child. Yikes. What about that? Oh, you went back to Whanganui. And that kōrero kind of reminded me of, well, e hangai ana te kōrero ki te kōrero tabaiti ako I te kāinga tuana ki te marae tauana. A child taught at home will stand on the marae with dignity. So, yeah. Ki waha, mā te ana I te racehorse. Which is like, man, you just wasted. Look, da. I've gone and created a new intro. So, have a bit of a read. Oh, unless you don't understand Te Reo Māori. Forgot about that. And someone, yeah, came up with a brilliant one. Purari shitabag. Purari shitabag. How's that? Brilliant. Purari shitabag. Kupu hoi. Kupu hoi, kahiwi, which is the ridge of a mountain. We learn something new each day. Kahiwi, ridge of a mountain. Now, I didn't get all of the kōrero because I don't really like writing, to be honest. Anyway, agrees that we should allow wahine to speak on the taumata, but should be aware of the challenges of te ao wairua. I can see the skies of heaven. Now, can I just say, if you're coming into this space and you don't know what's going on, why not have a bit of a listen before saying, what's going on here? What are you talking about? What is your request? Instead of that, wait a while, because I'm not going to answer you. Thank you, Tyler. Heoi anō I te iwi, ko tai ake rā tātou ki te hau whā mai I te iwa karaka, ka tono atu ki a koe e te rangatira, e ngāri no, kia uru mai ki tēnei whare, ki tēnei pahotanga mataora, kia ui atu rā, kia ahoe. Tēnā koe. So all you need to do, my bro, is, kia ora, my brother, ngāri no, can you just tap on the request, or I can just try and invite you? Doits. Oh,
Here we go.
You have got the whole setup.
Yeah, I just bounced off one wānanga, bro, so I just went, convert from all of this stuff, put it over to this stuff, and away we go.
Bit of a human bouncy ball. What a pleasure it is to have you here, my brother.
Enough, bro. Privileged to be asked.
How has your day been?
Well,
how are you?
Yeah, I had a couple of cool highlights throughout the day. Yeah, massive rest day for me. Massive rest day. I like to take advantage of those rest days. I see that gap, bro, and I, take the opportunity to just relax my mind, go back into my body, bro, bring everything back in, neutralize myself, stay in my my own lane, and recoup all of my whakaaro. So I had a bit of an in-house day today before the chaos began with picking up the kids and whatnot.
Taiwa. I did the exact same thing. I had a bit of a rest day, I suppose. Had a bit of a whakatā, when the kaupapa keep on piling on, and you, as the human bouncy ball, are just bouncing from kaupapa to kaupapa. You just need to take some time for yourself.
Yeah, tika tau. I've been a bit nervous coming on to this thing though, my bro. I thought to myself, Yeah, this fella loves to whittle. I hope you don't whittle me tonight.
Oh, I'm going to be absolutely ruthless. So,
Unleash.
all
Unleash.
good. You're all good, my bro. I'm sure you'll take it out. He wa noe hoa, hei whakawātea i a tātou, tērā pia hei whakaai o I tēnei wahanga, ngā kare aroto, ngā a maimaitanga, I roto i a koe, ka tukuna te rākau ki a koe, hei whakatuwhera I tā tātou wānanga.
Iake.
Ka pai.
Kia urara. Tēnā we. Nōgu nei te whiwhi. Tuatahi mai te whakawhiti kōrero tōtahe wā. Hona ko tēnei tētahi o ngā takotaku. Kia taunaki hea atua nei ngā kōrero i wanginui a tātou. Nō reira e mauiri he mautoa katoia ki te rongo o haipuru. He matatu pai pai he hiranga ki ngā mānuka nuka. Whiri ako tau murangi te kao ngā mahurangi ki ngā paroa. Ki mauto, ki mauro, he kumeroa, he kumetau. He rauroa ki tōku waru nau koe te tātai wheteo te rangi. Nau koe te wānanga, nau koe e rua tau e peka mai te ahi.
Tēnā koe, e te rangatira, mō I whakawāte I a tātou I tēnei pō. Tihei mauri ora ki te whaiau ki te ao marama. Tuatahi rā e mihi atu rā ki te karamatamata. Ko te amorangi kimua, ko te hāpai o kimuri, te tūturutanga mahi pono te mana Māori motuhake. E re te hua tohopu kia, e re te mānuka tomo koe kia. E kore ngaro te kākano I rui a mai rangi ātea. Whāia e koe te iti kaurangi ki te kore koe. Ki te tuau koe me he maunga taitai. Ka tauirake rā tātou ki ngā tini mate o te wā. Rātou mā, kua wehe atu rā, ki maunga pairau. Rātou mā, kua hoki atu rā ki te kāpuni-punitanga o ngā mātua. I nā tata nei, kua rongo, kua hare ake rā ki ngā tahinga o mea mā me te rongo ake rā I te hara I te mamai o ngā tangata putano. Nō reira, ka tahi anō au ka ako I tēnei kua aro pēr. Ki tēnei whakaaro, me āta whakarongo tātou, me ngana ke rā tātou kia tūhono ki te tangata. Heoi anō. Ko wai tēnei e kōrero nei ki a tātou katoa. Kia ora tātou te hunga mā takitaki. Ko kahurana ki tēnei. E mātaia I hora ki ngā hauku nui e taka wai nei taku I pukarea, here taunga ararau, here taunga hauku nui, here taunga haro te kahu. Ka peka ake rā tēnei kahu kōrako pēr. Ki te poho o mohaka harara taupunga opunga, ki ngā maunga rā o tāwhirirangi, o maunga pohātu. Maunga haruru, taku he. Ka peka tonu tēnei manu ki te whakapūnake, ara ki te rotorua nui a kahu, mata momoi, ki te maunga o ngā patu paiarehe, ara ko ngongotaha, ka peka whakate tai, ki hukurangi maunga, te maunga e kore e neke, ara e taunua te waka rā nuku tai me meha o Māui tiki a taranga. Te o tāne huata, kia ora mai tātou. Te whakaaro hau ka timata pēna, nā te mea ko taku pātai tuatahi I a te wā ko waikoe nā waikoe, no hea koe. Mena ka pātai atu ki a koe, he ato ingoa, he ato whakapapa, hei kore ahau e whakahuati aku whakapapa hoki. Kia mōi o koe ki a hau hoki. Nā reira e hoa, ko waikoe nā waikoe, no hea koe.
Tēnā koe wā, tēnā koe mea o maunga whakahi. Whaki mai atu ana I ngai nei maunga e whakakā mai atu ana te ito taku ngākau. Nō reira, ko tēnei manawa titi ahu mai te rohe o tāmaki nui tonu, tāmaki here tangata. Anei ngā maunga o te wai tākere, te uru ki tāmaki, e mihi nei. Ko wairā rā, ko Pukema te keo e mihi nei. Ka ki te whānui tia atu ana ki taku tupuna, I kauhoi mai ana ki runga I tō mātou nei tupuna taniwha kaiwhare. Mai te maunga o mauake o tira te tehi o ngā mautere o Hawaii kira. Kātahi rā, ka raru atu ana hape I tō mātou nei rangatira ki runga I a tainui waka o Turuara. I mua mai te tainga o tainui waka, I ahu mai atu ana tō mātou tupuna hape ki runga I te taniwhara kaiwhare. Ka taungi atu ana hape ki runga I te maunga o puke tāpapa. O tira, koe nei maunga whakahi roto I a tāmaki nui tonu ka kārangaranga hia atu ana tēnei tohunga. kia tainui kia kumea atu ana ngā tai, ki runga e tēnei o ngā whenua rā, nā reira ka puta mai tēnā ingoa ko karanga hape. Ko tēnei ngā karanga hape whitiki hia e tua i te Māori ki runga i ngā taonga ki runga i a tauni waka. Nō reira nei rā te mihi a te pane a mataoho e mihi nei, mai ngā tangata e noho ki runga i a ihu mātau, ko mātau tēnā, rā ko te akitai, ko Ngāti Kaiaua, o e tahi o ngā hapu i noho ana i reira. Ko mātou nei iwi matua ko te Waiohua.
Kia ora.
Hara mai tō tātou nei rangatira hua kaiwaka mai te waka o te arawa. E nei tātai whakapapa ki a Haumai Tawhiti. Ko tērā te tuakana māpere i a tama te kapua. E noho mai nei ki roto i a tamaki tuatahi nei. Ka tahi rā ka peka atu ana ki a hua kaiwaka ka puta atu ana te ora ki roto i tōku tupuna kui a te ata rehi a nei a Ngāti Te Ata e mihi nei ki runga i a tātou. Ka moia te ata rehia i a tāpau e mai i a Ngāti Mahuta. Ka peka mai atu ana te Māori me te mano o tauni waka ki runga i a tātou. No reira, taupiri te maunga, ko Waikato te aua, ko Waikato te iwi, Ngāti Naho, Ngāti Mahuta ngā hapu, ko Waihi Pā, ko Māori a ngā marae. He hononga anō tāku ki roto i a tauranga mona mai ngā waka tāki timu a mā tātua. Nei ngā kōingo tapu o Ngāti Ranginui, o Ngaiterangi o Ngāti Pukenga, mai te maunga whakahi o Mauao, o tira mai ngā iwi katoa o tauranga mona, mai ngā marae katoa o tauranga mona tēnei mihi nei. He tātai hoki ki roto i tō tātou nei maunga pūtauaki, i raro iho i te whakamarumaru o Ngāti Awa, no reira nei rā Ngāti Awa e mihi ana ki runga i a tātou. He Pākehā hoki a hau, no Scandinavia, no Ireland hoki, no Scotland, iahu mai ako krani māma, krani pāpa mai te waka o te Timuru, mai te mautere o Shetland Islands ki Scotland. Ka tahina ka whakatauri atu ana takutaha Pākehā ki roto i a Otipoti. Mahi Pākehā atu, e whānau mai taku pāpa ki roto i Pōneke, tūtaki a māma ka puta mai kua hau.
Kia ora rā, tēnā koe i ēnā kōrero, tēnā koe i ngā tātai whakapapa e here nei a tāua. Wehina. Kia ora ewa. Te whainga o tēnei pahotanga mataora, kua noho reo Māori a tāua, ko te mea nui kia mohio ake rā te hungara e kore mohio ana ki tō tātou nei reo. Nā reira, ka ahua reo rua, tēnei ngā whakaritenga pia. Engari, i te whakaro hau, Peter, yesterday he was on with all of his whakaro, with his introduction. And I go, whoa, took it to the next level. Kia ora rā, kia ora rā.
Me maro.
So I've got a couple of questions just out of this corridor that we've just had. First and foremost, karakia. We have taku. We have different types of karakia, ruruku, tohi, tiri te mohiotanga, all those sort of things. Much of the time, they are a framework, right? And you can sometimes, rā weke, you can sometimes manipulate within the framework to apply to the situation that we have now. Your karakia. One of the questions that I got asked, because I did a presentation to Ministry of Justice, and one of the pāta that they asked me is, don't do something that you've recited. Do something that comes from the manawa. But my belief is that you can actually you absolutely can chant karakia through the manawa if it's something that you've learnt, by rote. How o whakaro o tēnā?
Yeah, I've heard quite a few different explanations on what taku is, but how it was taught to me was that there was a learnt script, and as long as you learnt the oro to that script, it was like the key to the door to open up so that you can then purify your intentions into the space. And a taku for us was tuning into the elements of that environment, of that particular environment. And that meant that you had to whakaoho ai tō wairua tuatahi mai, and connect into everything that was in that space, so that you could relate the kupu, or the tātou ene kupu, the tātou te reo, to the space, and it would be a natural connection. Now, when we're superficially doing this, we're just kind of sort of brushing words off our mouth with no intention behind it. And that's where I get a little bit rangirua when I hear different karakia. So sometimes, if somebody opens up with a karakia and I can't really feel the iho pūmano of it, I'll kind of recite my own, just to kind of sort of, cover myself, because we know when we walk into those wairua spaces, anything can happen. And you need to make sure that you're that you're kind of clear on the pathway and the purpose, the pūtake of why you're there in the first place. Other ones that I've heard is that taku is free flowing. It's from your own, or it's you're making it up as you go along, because you're feeling the energy of that time in that space. And kei te pai, there's time and a place for that as well. But I use certain taku to help unlock the passages, so that we can have a free flowing experience in that space.
This is because I sit under the parido, per se, of my uncle, who I regard as a tohunga karakia. And the way that he's able to connect the corridors, like he's got his framework, he's got his karakia framework, and then within that, he is applying to the situation as he's going, right? So that takes a huge level of expertise to be able to just gather, process in your mind as you're going, and then chant it. But I absolutely agree with your whakaaro in terms of like how we must connect to the kupu. And his kōrero to me was, why do you keep on doing those karakia? We were on the boat, because Takitimu being a sacred boat, and our ariki were there, and we've got Tūmaiawa, and we've got all those sort of karakia. And he's like, we're back on the ground now. We're at home. So I was just like, but I still think that there is the message in there. So I mean, he is still able to be moved. He's not going to be stoic in his whakaaro. But I'm just like, I think that when we take those kupu, we can actually apply those to those situations that you feel like can apply. That may have just gone on a bit of a detour, e hoa. But
Waiake. I was just going to respond to that to say life's a voyage, isn't it? Life's a journey. As our tupuna were navigating the great ocean from Hawaii into the space of Aotearoa, we still have not stopped voyaging. We're still voyaging at the moment, and the ira inside of us, the DNA inside of us, are giving us enough tohu to keep pushing us and keep pushing the narrative. That's why I love your page, bro, because you're pushing some ugly narrative that needs to be shaken and broken. We need to break the narrative so that we can rebuild the bigger box, so the next generation don't have to fix our shit.
Kia ora rā, tēnā koe. Tēnā koe I tō mihi bai. And like, I think, although I don't think it's anyone else's responsibility, I think I shoulder that responsibility, because I think when you're saying about our uri whakaheke, about our next generation, that actually they don't deserve to become, be put in a society where they have these misconceptions placed on them, right? So I'm like, well, what ability do I have to actually change some whakaaro? And perhaps you can't change people's whakaaro, and you're like, well, that's just a battle that I'm not going to win. But at the end of the day, if I can actually impact people who are sitting on the fence in terms of their whakaaro, job done. But tēnā koe I tō mihi mai. Now, just on the on that content, is it hongi kiss or kongi?
I've always known it as a kongi, bro. And obviously, when you brought that out, every Māori knew what the hell you were talking about too. So it took us into some childhood trauma, I'll tell you that much. There was some shit we had to unpack there, man.
How long have you known about this kongi?
It was around when we were kids. It was around. The nannies would give us shit about it and call it a kongi. Hey, ko te kongi atu ana te krau wai ia koe. And I was like, oh. I thought there was a private moment that nobody saw.
Now, I've got a pretty flattish nose, so I think people had pretty good aim in Kahungunu aim. So I didn't experience the kungi until a bit later on in life, thankfully. But I've been meaning to ask you that one for a little while.
Oh, bro, she was
Ragura,
a beauty.
our lives usually go for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. E te tuahine. Well, can you tell us a pūrākau about your area? I mean, you kind of did.
Yeah. The particular area that I live in at the moment is known as Titirangi. And this is the home of the Patupaerehe. So, mai tētahi Patupaerehe ki tētahi atu Patupaerehe, ne kamihi. Koe ne kōrero, iahu mai I think it was the sighting of the fires that were burning before Kupe had arrived here. And as Kupe had already navigated the predominantly the north, as he was coming down to Tamaki, there was kōrero recited that there were already fires burning here in the night. And the kōrero that we have within our Patupaerehe whānau is that this is still very, very heavily occupied by Patupaerehe here in Te Waitakere in the west of Auckland. And so, you know, I like to go out there and have a little bit of a play with them and connect with them and listen to their whispers and watch them flash around, because they're like lightning, eh? They kind of flash right through certain areas. You kind of sort of blink. And if your Māori is tau enough, and you are trustworthy, they will reveal themselves. And we still believe that they are still very, very much alive here in the Waitakere. And so they're not a fairy tale to us. We do know how to tap into their sensory system, and we can feel them when they're around this certain area. But like I was saying, in this particular area that I occupy, I live on a tupuna pā site known as Opautukeka, who was the grandfather of Hua Kaiwaka, who was one of the biggest iwi here in Tamaki, known as the Waiohua. And just outside here is known as we live right on the beach, so ko tō matune moana ko te Mānukanuka o Hotura. And this is where the Taunui Waka came in, and obviously it was kind of scoping the horizon to see where it could place some tupuna in order to occupy the space. And one of those spaces was just on the southern side of Tamaki, South Auckland, where pā sites were erected, and it was known as Te Kei o Tainui. And so we've got a very strong heritage here of all of our Māori that tātai into Tainui Waka here in Tamaki Makaurau. But obviously during Matatini, some of those lines got a little bit funky. And so the kōrero's still going around, which is cool. I thought it was a good thing.
What are your thoughts?
What am I thought? Oh, tai ki tai, bro, and tainui ki tainui, and whatever tainui says, that's how we roll. And so the pāpara tuku, he laid down his take, and it was responded to, and that kōrero's been going around for ages, bro. It was just publicized, and it was put into a public forum. So we're still very tainui hard, even on this side of the west of Auckland, and we acknowledge Ngāti Whātua and all of the battles that took place up here in Tamaki, and all of the history that we share through whakapapa, through tātou pounamu. But obviously, my tātai in particular is strongly tainui waka up here in Tamaki.
Kia ora rā. Could you explain what tātou pounamu is for our viewers?
Yeah, tātou pounamu was an offering, an offering after if battles were kind of never ending, there was a truce, a form of truce, and it was done ceremonial up here where, the Māori of toka, toka were very sacred to our people, and those toka were like currency, and that currency would be the sound and vibration of two iwi negotiating peaceful intentions, and that would be met with negotiating puhi ariki, or sort of high calibrated toto or whakapapa that would bind together to breed a new DNA formula in their tātai whakapapa, and then peaceful intentions would happen from there.
Kia ora. Ooh, that was the best explanation of a tato pounamu I ever heard. We don't. So in Te Waitakere and in Titirangi, I've actually been door knocking back in my young rooster days. Out in Titirangi, I know it's quite hilly, but also quite bushy, as in the perfect place for patu paere. We here in Heretaunga, we're a mania, so just a whole bunch of flat lands, really. And then we go out to the coast, out to Napier, and we have turehu here. So we've got, Ponaturi. And our area there is looked after by More More, the son of Pania, who turned herself into a reef. Massive. I could listen to you all day.
Oh, tawa, brother.
You did mention pepeha. So we know the ones like Waikato Tani Wharau, those sort of ones. Kaungunu Ure Whakaparati. It's very graphic, R18, but in Te Reo Māori, kei te paino. But what are the ones that are applicable in your area, just for anyone that is connecting in these spaces?
Whakatauki?
In those examples, like the Mohaka Harara Taupunga Opunga, which talks about the different stones of the area, and you can actually identify, I suppose, the type of people when they say that they're from them by that tribal maxim.
Yeah. Well,
so you would have mentioned one before, Tamaki Herenga Tangata.
Yeah.
That would have been one. But is there others that you were from?
Well, atu ki, Tamaki Herenga Waka Herenga Tangata. That's quite a famous one up here in Tamaki that all the tribes use here in Tamaki. And I think, everyone's got their story about Tamaki. Some call him the man of many lovers, but in one particular hapu over here in Ihumātao, Tamaki was a female, and she was the hauler of many fish. She was a great fisheress. I don't want to say fisherman. We've got all this gender cordial going on. But yeah, she was, the dominant feature up here over in South Auckland. But the he piko he taniwha he ariki he rangatira definitely is a renowned one on the river, in the Waikato River. But here, ko te haumāngere o Hoturua, te Mānukanuko Hoturua is the most famous one up here in the harbour, because the Tainui Waka was on the other side of the island, and they were trying to sail it through, but it had lazy winds, so it was a time of reflection that they had to carry the waka over the tide was low, and they had to carry the waka because the winds were too light to carry it through the current. And so that's everything to do with mangere in that particular area. That kōrero was quite prominent up here. Atu i tērā ko o mātou nei kōrero ki roto i a tauranga mona, he pika titoki e kore e whati. And that was a whakatauki that was given by Kingi Tāwhiao Matataira. And that was in reference to the fact that tauranga were like the titoki tree that could not be broken. And it took the colonial to march 20,000 soldiers over there to start the first war in a pā known as Puke Hinahina, which all the tribes in Tauranga, Te Arawa, Whakatohia had gathered together to be able to take that battle and win over cannons and guns. And I think we lost about 5 taua in that one, and they lost over 150 redcoats. So we claim that as a bit of a victory, and Tāwhiao then stated that claim, he pika titoki e kore e whati.
Kia ora. Miharo. And another one for Tamaki will be, just out of Te Matatini, will be Tamaki Te Hanawiti. Te miti o te hanawiti.
Te miti. Hey miti ma korua. Oh, kaurua. Sorry, kaurua. I better get the dialect right. Ko te kaurua. Yeah.
So good. Never going to forget that. He had three iconic lines, which was Tēnā koe i o teka. It was the Hanuiti. Oh, and there was another one. Oh, neke neke mai. Whoo.
Oh, neke moi. You know, and man, I love Te Kura. I
Mm.
learnt in Pinakitanga under him for a year. So he was my kaiako, and he would drop some beauties, man. He would drop some beauties, even in there, and that was about maybe 10 years ago. So when I seen him get up there and shine, I just thought to myself, you know, even though he's speaking against our iwi over here, just the class of the man to come out there and be like, nah, and you can keep your koha. We ain't picking that one up. Even to have the mana to walk across the pai and tell the kaumatu, don't pick that koha up. Which, you know, was a really confusing line for us on the other side.
Mm. And quite entertaining, I must say.
Oh, mate. It
And what's your
started the fires.
what's your mita? And what are some differences that you know about your mita compared with, say, a pan tribal mita?
Yeah, well, I sort of have been tapping into our Waikato dialect. Um,
Mm.
you know, there are some subtle differences in our reo, but it's still quite universal to understand as well. So we say ngō instead of mō. Tēnā koe me ngō kōrero.
Mm.
Um, we say wetahi a lot. We say ngetehi. And so, you know, it's just kind of sort of tuning into the the essence of our dialect, and our dialect is a very river dialect. And so, you know, with the essence of our vowel system was picked up by obviously the tuna and the tupuna taniwha that were in that in our awa, and how they would respond to our tupuna as well would be
Mm.
a good indication that our reo, our mita, is a very river mita.
Wow. And so, are you down with that double vowels?
Yeah, I'm a double vowler. I've always been a double vowler because I never learnt through reading and writing the reo. I only learnt by the taringa, my ngākau, my wairua, and obviously observation. Ko taku kura ko te umu pokopoko o tūmatauenga. And
Kia
so,
ora.
you know, I never really kind of sort of understood the concepts of the written language.
Mm.
But when I did, I went to my older cousin, and he was writing our whakapapa and our pepeha all with double vowels. So that was my first introduction to written language.
Kia ora. I know that in my koro's puka puka, my koro Pita Awatiri, he talks about the necessity of using the double vowels, and he was from hard out Tuparo or hard out Ngāti, whānau rua taupare. He expresses the importance of it because it's under those same reasonings. But, we know Te Tānawhitia as being ones that generally we say, without the tohuto, well, not committing to tohuto. So yeah, it's really interesting that you bring up for that reason, not because they want to fill up the page, fill up the books um, with
Yeah.
the double vowels.
Mm.
Ka pai. So yeah, I just also noticed because we have a whānau, a peka, I suppose, for our whānau that are there as well, and they use a lot of f. I notice a lot of f,
Mm.
fikoi,
Mm.
and I love
Yeah,
it.
ko te whikoi. Yeah, ko te whikoi. We use whikoi a lot.
Mm. Ka pai. E hoa, there's a reason why I brought you in this space. The reason why is because um, perhaps your parents gave you the wrong name. They should have given you the name Jack because you are doing so many things. Tāne matua, Māori movement, you stand for Te Matarai o Rehu. Previously were in Te Wakahuia. I see here Taonga Puoro. Not only that, e te iwi, directing, acting, presenting. Save some
Oh,
business for the rest of us.
who's done their research?
You think I come in here without research? E hoa, what are your passions?
Man, I think i au e tamariki ana, I was planted the seed to respond respectfully to this. Um, to change the perception of what it means to be Maori.
Mm.
And Rui Aperahama was one of my first kaiako in our kura kaupapa at the Kakano in Poneke. And he was very, very political, as he was a muso as well. But he showed me the side of performing arts that you could express through other art forms other than kapahaka. And so I got kind of intrigued by pūrākau and being a wānanga baby and being shipped around to different wānanga and enduring some of those, weekly long stays in a marae or on Makoia Island, or going in to visit Miringa Te Kākara and seeing all of these beautiful artifacts of our people. I saw the stage of our marae Aotea as a theatre. It was our own theatre of expression. And so I got kind of curious in this Pākehā world where I played Ranginui in a story when I was 8 years old. And that was my first introduction to Māori theatre. And so for me, it was one of those things where I kind of hooked on to telling our pastime stories and narratives through the art of theatre. So I grew with that. Obviously when I finished kura, I fell in love with rugby. So I went and had a tutu with rugby, became a professional rugby player, but I returned back to Te Ao Māori. And this is where I've just grown my passion and grown the love for our people. And kapahaka was my paramount kind of pinnacle point of jumping on a stage and expressing who we are as a people. So jumping into two powerhouse groups like Te Wakahuia and Te Matarai has not been an easy course. It's you got to fight, you got to scrap to get on those teams, and it was one of those things where haka is my base, haka is my foundation, and all of the other kaupapa that I drive around here is kind of it's supplementary to the heart of what our people are all about.
We were brought up with Te Wakahuia. My auntie Hira was absolutely obsessed, and she wanted us to be just like Te Wakahuia. Look, some dreams just can't come true, auntie. And I've remembered a couple of times seeing you on that edge, and I was put on that edge one time, and I was like, oh nah, I don't want to be on the edge. But this is no joke of a lie, and this is not kissing ass. This is the acknowledgement of someone that I saw really owning that space. And like, where else would you put you in that space? Because actually, when you think of a front line of a kapa, you have to think about actually the dynamics that person brings to the space that they're holding. And I just think, just to acknowledge you in that space, being on the side, I was like, man, actually, that's where the superstar goes. The cameraman, the one that gets on the camera side. So I think even through that, we learned I learned a small lesson in terms of, look, you don't always have to be in centre. You don't always have to be the one that everyone's looking at. You can actually hold your space on the side and really, really own it. And I think that's actually probably a lesson that can apply to different spaces.
Well, that was Koro Ngapo's teaching, eh? Koro was, and he was just an unbelievable teacher. And I was so blessed to even just sit at his feet and listen to the things that would come out of his wairua. But he would have so much belief in you that if you were in the front row, middle, front row, side, second row, you were acting like you were the star performer. And he would inject that belief in you, that it doesn't matter where you perform, and it doesn't even matter if you're the guitar carrier, that you own the space. And it was because of his belief that he had in all of us that we performed like we were all the front row, middle, and that I've got to acknowledge him for that.
And it seems like in Te Wakahuia, for the last 30 years, it's been occupied by one person.
Change the guard. Change the guard.
Nah, you know what? I actually love seeing him in the front row middle. I'm like, please, no one take his spot. Who is going to be good enough to take his spot? But they have changed it this year, eh?
Yeah, there was a little bit of change of guard. I mean, I talked about in 2015 when we were in Christchurch. They had a play with it where they put Kani in the middle, and the anchor fell out. because Tom's the anchor. When you've got an anchor that big, it's been in the experience that man carries can hold the whole front line by himself. He shouldn't have to, but that when you're assured, when you look to your left and you can see that big fella right in the middle, but you know you on a voyage, you rocking.
Do you think that they decided that they want to have a bit of a change of guard at that time because of the weird camera angle in Rotorua in 2013?
Yeah, I think so, bro. Because he got the undie shot, the first opening shot, and hey, and I've got to be thankful for that, because then they came straight left, and then they stayed on my side for about a good 10 seconds, and I was like, yeah, keep it there until they adjust the camera.
Well, they may have got an undie shot, but I've probably got one that's even more famous. That's a no undie shot.
Oh,
let's
yes.
move on, Terry.
Yes. Hey, Kitty, go. Kitty, go. Get that art, go.
Yeah, they had to do a copy at the most inappropriate time, and they cut angle, and then boom, right there. And I was like, oh no. Now I've been called certain names before, but Mr. Diddleman, yeah, new one.
Hey,
Oh, no, Willie Man.
Willie Man.
Yes, we are entering into vulnerable spaces here, Te Well, what is your demographic, and who is your content on TikTok communicating to?
Oh, wow, man. I didn't even know what TikTok was. I was just plastering some stuff out there because I felt free enough in my wairua to be like, yes, no one knows me on here. I'm just going to go out here and be a random Māori. And and then I started getting all of the mums and, all the mum demographic. Woo. And I was like, oh, shit, I better kind of pull back on this one, mate, because, you kind of sort of just get these overwhelming comments that are like borderline inappropriate. And I was just thinking, shit, these fellas are brave on this site. So it kind of started off that way. And then obviously, as Mahi started to pick up, I wanted to promote a little bit more to our audience, the importance of, what it means to be Māori, but, how we have a very deep spiritual connection to ourselves that needs to be shared with the world, in all its tapu as well. But it's one of those things where, I remember some of my tour kind of inspiring the hell out of me without social media, and so I took from their lead. We've got to go out there and keep promoting who we are as a people, because we're a beautiful people. We've just got massive hearts. We are the true coconuts of Te Moana Nui Ake Way. We're real hard on the outside, but once you get to know us, man, we love, and we love big. We love big, and it's wanting to return back to those values and those core concepts instead of the ugly bullshit that we see all over social media. And I'm glad you're one of those ones that get out there and challenge that narrative too, bro.
So am I free to call you a coconut?
At the moment, probably from Tama Te Kapua down.
Okay. Very insightful. And actually, what I'm really appreciating about your kōrero is just this substantiating kōrero. Because oftentimes you get fed kōrero, but actually there's no reasoning behind this. We don't actually come in with the whole kōrero, and what we need to be cognizant of, I suppose, is not only the tangible thing, but also we live in ngā ao e rua, right? And so this other side is our wairua. And what I'm really appreciating about yourself is that you're actually talking about these frequencies and these dimensions and those sort of things. And actually, those are appropriate things for us to be talking about the patu paerehe, and how those things are very, very real in our life. Although, anyway. So yes, I'm very much appreciating that, and also the cougars that you've managed to attract. Hey, oi.
Thank you for pointing that
out. We'll go on to some our haringa reo. What was your reo journey been like? Or tell us about your reo journey.
Interesting. So obviously I was brought up through a puna reo system. and we had amazing kaumatua of that era in the 80s, because we were the first movement in the 80s. Are you 80s baby or 90s?
I'm a just on the cuff. I'm a 90s,
Oh,
1990.
yep. Yeah. So us 80s babies were, kind of sort of put through that first test of the kohareo movement, and then they had a punareo structure where they would select certain tamariki and take them away to, they would almost feel like kura huna if I was to kind of sort of describe them, where they would put the ancient code into the minds of the babies. Okay? It
Mm.
was like a sprinkle of pollen of ancient stuff that would just be and so that was kind of cool to reflect on as I got a little bit older in my real journey. And then I went to Te Kura Kaupapa Titahi in Purirua, Wellington. And then Mum figured out that I couldn't read or write English properly, so she sent me to a Pākehā school. And I went to Wellington Boys College, where you don't speak reo at all. And I got confused with this English language because it was such a backwards language for me to learn. And I failed level 3 Māori, or third form Māori, fourth form Māori, fifth form Māori, sixth form Māori. All my Māori studies, I failed all of them. I couldn't write them because I didn't know how to structure the grammar of it. So I lost confidence in my reo. And I knew it wasn't dormant, but I lost confidence in it. So I kind of used my sporting background to feel validated, to feel accepted as a person. But everybody knew that I'd come from a strong Māori background. And then moving back into, I wanted to get my reo back and rejuvenated again. So I went back to Te Wānanga Aotearoa. And just, I was a ghost. I was ghosting in some of my bros' classes because they were real teachers there. So I'd just hop in, start writing notes, and then going through the sentence structures and blah, blah, blah. But as I started to, kind of feed this mātauranga back into me, other things would spike off. So I was always I was in Wānanga with Wairua when I was learning the reo again, when I was picking it back up. And then obviously studying at Te Wānanga Awaniarangi, I wrote everything in Te Reo Māori. I learned how to structure a bloody assessment. And that was one of the hardest things, was learning how to learn the correct grammar in order for you to get a healthy mark in your assignments. And so that was kind of a cool journey. But I learned my reo predominantly from the taiao. I learned it in my own oro. I learned it through pūrākau, and I'm a listener. I'm a listener. And that's one of the things that Koro Ngāpō kind of injected into my ears as well, he taonga te whakarongo. And to ensure that you open these, you open those, and you shut that until you acquire a certain level of confidence to be able to whakaputa o whakahua ngā whakaaro. And so that I've just carried that all the way. So, I believe that, we're all teachers and students in this world, and we can learn from everybody, as long as you can remove your ego and understand that everybody has got something to teach you.
It's uncanny, actually, just how similar our journeys have been. Except I knew how to read and write at the start. So I had that because I was the whare that I was raised in was Ingarihi, English. So I kind of took that on already, but also, through my uncles and aunties, was able to learn te reo Māori. But you're so right in terms of those kurahuna, those things that they sprinkle in, that little sprinkle dust. As a tamaiti, that somehow you've managed to kind of still carry on these days. And I remember Matua Bill raising this idea or this concept about this needle or this compass that comes from the abyss. And I was like, wow,
Yes.
You're so right. This thing that says this is what tikanga is, what tikanga is because your mana was telling you what it is. And you've actually been able to develop this, this ability to navigate into Te Ao Māori, but also given the structures and the way that we are in the world at the moment, have to be able to take that mātauranga and coexist, I suppose, in a completely fundamentally opposing culture in the culture of the white man. So it's just that kōrero, really, really resonates with me.
Kia ora.
You're probably about 10 years ahead. So, yeah, because I've done the same thing with the pinakitanga te wānanga o Aotearoa and pinakitanga. But just now on my own journey, just collecting, and I've just found that rather than burying my head in books, it's actually just nice to just have a listen to people and to connect with people and hear that kōrero from them. So I hear you, man.
Tika tau.
What have been some of the challenges that you've faced?
Oh, challenges. I'm a man that's not scared to make mistakes. I've always been one to own my mistakes as well. And I remember making this real big mistake on Aotea once where I was given the rākau at a tangihanga as an ope. And I was only a kid. But this karaua gave me, said, oh, yeah, ko koe te kai kōrero tuatahi, eh? And I was like, oh, yep, sweet as. So we went down and sat down, and I got up to start the entire pōhiri process as a manuhiri. And because I was shunting because of what this karaua had told me, I had blocked that and forgotten what the processes were. And so I got shamed in front of everybody, eh? I got sat down, all the nannies behind me, they were just like embarrassed and shamed, and I wore that, and I thought to myself, how am I going to respond here? Because I've been sat down, I've been smashed by all the kaumātua, and I got up and I just owned my shit. Hey, and I thought to myself, I've got to face this right here, right now. I can't tuck my tail and run, because then I will run from whai kōrero for the rest of my life.
Yes.
If I don't approach it right now. I've got to hit it on the head. So I got up bravely and I acknowledged everything I had done wrong, and I had knelt down. I remember bending down to my knee and apologizing to the whole pai, the whānau pani and the tūpapaku. As a 15-year-old, learning that lesson was one of those things where I was unprotected in that space, but I grew a pair of fucking, sorry to swear on here, but I grew some wings.
Yes.
And I decided to take that lesson and make that my number one rule, to address it right there and then. If shit goes down, you've got to knock it on the head early, otherwise it leaves room for gossip and all of the other ngangara, ngautuara to evolve.
Burns,
and, it burns in and around you, and it even filters down to your whakapapa if you don't bury it quick.
Yes. Beautiful.
So that's one of the life lessons that I've learned in terms of our Māori processes. But I think other challenges is learning, how to this thing, humility, learning humility, because it's a learned thing, unless you're born around it, unless you're in an environment where humility is the number one value, otherwise you don't know what it is. So learning the art of whakaiti was one of the greatest things that I've ever had to endure over time. It just allowed me to master my ego, not squash it, but just master it, because there's a time and a place for ego.
Kia ora.
There's a time and a place to be two, there's a time and a place to rongo, and there's a time and a place to just be nothing. And so I've learned how to kind of master all three, so that I can move freely through all of them, and I can walk comfortably in my own skin, knowing that I have acquired that particular type of knowledge over time. But atu tira, I think that's what brought me into receiving my matora. And I thought I was going to get challenged with that as well, but I've had nothing but the most beautiful kōrero from Pākehā, from Māori, from, all these other discriminating kind of kōrero that you get from the Kazis. I don't receive any of it. I think a big reason is the way you wear it. So it's one of those things where I've kind of stepped into my light and utilized all my past learning lessons and learning curves to help navigate challenging times.
And I dare you have a go at this. But this kōrero that you said about this experience of shame, I've never experienced something like that, but I can imagine how you would have felt in that time. Holy hell.
Oh.
Like, kei te rongo. But just the foresight, I suppose, to just squash it on the head as a 15-year-old. you know, Mickey. But what we've tried to communicate, I suppose, is that these situations of pure shame are opportunities for us to reflect and keep us grounded, and to actually have that humility. There was a time when I did this.
Mm.
Yeah. So, man, loving it. Loving it. How did that? Oh, no, actually, no, I've already asked that. So, my next part was about how did that shame sort of shape your perspective, but I kind of heard from that in terms of smacking on the head. Is there any sort of other kōrero that we can get out of that?
Well, we kind of have used this thing, waiho mā te whakamai patu, in
Mm,
Te Ao Māori. And I sort of, I held on to that because I was like, do I let this whakamā own me or do I own the whakamā? Do I flip it on its head? Do I change the narrative and put a different perspective? So I said, nah, patu te whakamā. And
mm,
and so for anybody that's going through, challenging times that you feel so exposed, there's nothing like the now in that time, in that space to address it as quickly as you possibly can, and not to cover your tracks, but just to own it. And
mm,
I've learned my greatest lessons by all my pōruritanga. Every time that I have fallen into the depths of darkness, every time I've fallen on my face, man, that's where I've had the most growth in
mm,
in this body. Not at the pinnacle points where I've succeeded and I've done big things. I don't learn anything up there. I learn about the grind and I learn about work ethic and I learn about discipline. But in terms of learning as a person and growing as a person, I've learned them all down in the states of Paul. And so that's why
mm.
sometimes I love just going down there sometimes. Even if I don't have to be down there, I'm just like, I'm just going to go down to Paul for a wee bit. I'm just going to sit in here and I'm just going to have a conversation with myself and check myself.
Scorpio.
Gemini.
Yeah. Air sign?
Hey?
Are you an air sign?
What's an ear sign?
Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Cool, my man. That's so cool. Um, yeah, I love that whakaaro in terms of being there in the poiruri, and that's where you have those learning spaces. Because when you're at the height, when you're at the pinnacle, you're at the kilnga o te maunga, that's when you eat a lot, I reckon. I reckon you eat, and you just become a hedonist, per se,
Mm,
a person that likes the pleasure. But when you're out here and you're sort of aro kia koe anō, you start to think of where can I work on, what are the things that I can work on. And yeah, like for me, I mean, it hasn't been the best year, if I can be upfront with you, Eho. But it's also
sorry.
offered an opportunity for me to go back to te whare whakapakari tinana and
Mm,
start to focus not only on this thing that actually makes me happy as having a kōrero with you, or kōrero and having interview with Māori speakers. That's one thing for my hinengaro, one thing for my wairua, but also I need to aro ki tēnā tūtā, ara, ko te tinana hoki. So, yeah, that resonates with me. Well,
mm, beautiful.
what resources have been helpful for you?
Oh, are we talking modern day resources or are we talking
Whatever resources and learning te reo Māori or
oh
connecting.
yeah, I think the most important thing for me is because I don't resonate with the the written context of our language. It just does my head in. It puts me in an analytical state, which is where I don't learn from. I don't learn through my logic mind. Um, and so I learned through the subconscious elements. It's a bit more hard hitting to the manawa, and I can become more coherent with our reo, and which influences my emotions to be able to speak my pure thoughts. And it allows my wairua to flow. So I love whare wānanga concepts. I recently connected with Pauroto Ngaropo, and I'll sit in at his reke and just listen to the flow of what he's got to offer, because he's, you've seen that fellow on on the pai and man, you see some magic come out of that fella. And another tuakana of mine, Awanu Yarangi Black, was another stalwart bringing me up back home in Tauranga. Another cousin of mine, Brad Totorewa, back home in Waikato, was another stickler for te reo o Tainui. So, I like surrounding myself around a circle of influence that is already matatau in those spaces. And I use human resources to help influence and guide, my natural ability to be able to speak our mother tongue. So that's the thing that I look for. It's the human connection as opposed to, any external resource that would otherwise tell me how to speak this language that I know is already within me. And I like that saying that everybody's saying, it's not that that you don't know the reo knows you. I like that because it comes from such a dramatic whakapapa lineage that it's already inside of you. You just got to meet it halfway to bring it out.
Squeeze it out, te iwi.
Hey.
Man, neke. Just one more on this particular flow of kōrero. How much you encourage whānau to learn te reo Māori?
Bro, here's a magical story. Mum was beaten for speaking the reo. So she was of that generation. Tauranga girls, went to Kaimai Native School, got beaten, strapped, and that's all they spoke at home, back home in the Kaimai Ranges in Tauranga. So she struggled with that transition. So mum was severely beaten, scarred, manipulated, and then she grew a fear base for our reo. So my older siblings are, straight colonic. They've just got the colonized mind. But mum gave me to the old people, which I was really, really thankful for. I was really, really thankful for in that space. So growing up, I knew that I could speak in the native tongue, and going home was always sad because I'd want to speak Māori to the old lady, but she couldn't reply or respond, and got frustrated. And I saw her tense. She got anxious every time I spoke because it was like, am I going to get strapped? It was almost her going back into her inner child. So I saw that as a way of, oh man, how can I help heal that? So for my baby, we sent him to Punareo. We sent him to, he's at Hoani Waititi at the moment, Kura Kaupapa Māori Hoani Waititi. And so I predominantly brought him up around the reo, couldn't speak English, and then I gave him to mum. So then that forced mum to speak the reo. And my baby became the healer for mum. And now mum's tongue is starting to move. She's overcome her fear because she's a lot softer with her moko. And she's at a queer age now, so she's a lot softer in her approach. But that's how I decided to bridge mum's mamai and traumatic effect to the reo and encourage my baby to teach her and heal her.
That is massive. That is such a wise thing to do. Wow. To heal your mum through your tamaiti. Kia pai mai hoki. That's sort of the similar to, again, we've got some things in common at the moment. My mum never really had the time, and I'm going to say this, and I think it's fair, she committed to the other whawhai, and she's still committing to it. So she hasn't slowed down in the mahi that she does. And now that we've sent our nephew to Rotorua to go live with her, and at Rotorua, they have a strategy of saying the whānau need to be speaking te reo Māori at home in order for them to do well in the kura. This is, as we said, tamaiti ako I te kāinga tuana ki te marae, right? And so now we're seeing her trying to get into a class, and it's not because of the same sort of, not because she was bashed out of it, because she also was brought up with the Pākehā reo as well. So not for the exact same reasons, but actually using our mokopuna to bridge that connect and giving them the purpose to reconnect to their te reo Māori. Far out. That's so cool.
Well, they're a lot softer in our mokopuna. They cradle them. As opposed to us, it's just like, oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, well. You may have a point. Let's change the tide of this kōrero e hoa. I'm very much enjoying this. But I would like to pick your brain. I'm sure I've seen you in here a couple of times having a bit of a noise, so you might understand the flow of this kōrero. Let's start off with the pātai that we had from my sister, Raukura Huata, who said, "What is your what's your favourite kai?"
Bro, mai te mona ko te kina, mai te whenua ko te hangi. Dare I say it? Mai ngā rākau ko te kereru.
Ooh, how often do you have that?
Hey, bro, we're in season up here, bro. We're in season up here in Titira.
Holy Rick.
Yeah, ko tērā ngā kai Māori, rawa kia hau. But other than that, you know, you've got all of your bloody kino KFCs, mate. Oh, that's your go-to, your early go-to. Yeah.
The nectar of the heavens, e hoa. The kawhasa. Well, since she also asked me what mine is, ko te kina. On land. I'm not going to do yours. I'm just going to say kina. It's unequivocally number one.
Yeah.
Favorite whakatauki, whakatauaki, and whakamārama mai?
Oh. The one that I said earlier, I carry a lot. He taonga te whakarongo. I really resonate with that. Yeah, the art of listening is a treasure. You know, anybody can speak, and probably, you know, in our day and age, everybody's got too much to say. But to have that art of listening, but not just listening with this, listening with this, listening with this, listening with your intuition. You know, if you can, you know, better understand the sound of a whisper. Ka tae koe ki te whakapua, wai o whakaro, maha, and the pureness of your whakaro. I like deep conversations like that. And, you know, having that art of listening is definitely a taonga. So he taonga te whakarongo. Yeah, I've kind of stated them all. It's bringing yourself back into the essence of what your tupuna have kind of been saying about you for hundreds of years. He peka tito ki koe kore whati.
Kia ora.
And out of those two, those are the two that I carry with me every day.
Kia ora. That is really cool. There you go, Tiwi. And it's beauty. There's beauty in simplicity. He taonga te whakarongo. What's a kiwaha you use? Or what's one of your favourite?
Wanana is one that I love to use. Wanana.
Is that like 1 ounce?
That's just like step up. Hey, step up to the plate. And because I'm always that person, especially in wānanga spaces where I'm like, if it doesn't challenge you, it's not going to change you. So I'm going to make you really uncomfortable right now.
Yep.
And you kind of get into the headspace of our people way because, you know, I feel like we lack, I'm not talking for the minority here, but I feel like we lack this mindset to break free of poverty, of all of this bad cloud that we have upon us, and knowing that we have the ability to be able to break through. I use manana, like, you know, let's go, get up, let's grow.
A bit of rehe ko, a bit of karawhiua, a bit of wepua.
Rehe ko. Hey, bit of wepua at the same time. All of that goodness, bro. Those are the type of kiwa that I like to use.
Bit of reshko. Mean. What's a kupu that you've just learnt?
Oh, I learned one yesterday. Ihu parapara.
Ihu parapara?
Yeah, brown nose.
Yeah, bit of
a...
Not the same as ihu ma.
Hey, it was my boy. My boy come home and he said, "Oh, come on, ihu parapara there." And I was talking on the phone, having a conversation. Yeah, don't be nosy. And then I was just like, "Hey, did he just say stop brown nosing?" You know, I interpreted it, you know, completely different. I saw the description in it, but he was completely speaking from another.
That's what I just saw. I was like, nose and rubbish. Ka pai. Who's a speaker of Te Reo Māori that you appreciate listening to?
Oh, I grew up with Papa Piri Shasha.
Oh, kia ora.
Yep. Me and his second eldest son, Tūmaranga, were best mates. So I grew up around the whānau in Porangahau. Did a few stints at Tamatea Riki Nui, but didn't jump on stage for them. So I always
Iki.
loved listening to... Yeah, exactly. I jumped ship and went to Wakas instead.
Wow, what a jump. I think there's no Kaungunu, or specifically Tamatea here.
I got nothing but love for them. And then there was I love the flow of our kaumatu back home in Tauranga. There's just something about speaking te reo o the moana. And I guess I've got to look at the idols of Pauroto Ma, and looking at all of my whanaunga back home in Waikato. They've just got a real taio style of speaking ao reo, which is what I relate to more than the kind of sort of analytical. I tried to hang out with Scotty Morrison for a bit, but I just couldn't understand what he was saying. So I was like, right, park you.
I have that same thing. I've got a friend who uses these flash-ass words, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, how do I keep up with this man? I get that too, but I'm also trying to learn that deal. It's kind of like, it's weird because it's your own deal, and you're trying to like understand your own deal. But you know that you speak it fluently.
Yeah. That's why I say I'm a native speaker, not a fluent speaker. Because to me, the fluency of a language, it means that you're competent in, all things to do with the reo. And there's some real flash reo out there that I really don't understand when they're speaking. But when I go back to the native tongue, man, I feel at home there. I feel I can grow that Māori. And ko te reo ngā kaumatu, ngā kuia. Oh, man, I love sitting down having a good yarn with them because they're so prophetic. And I love the propheticness of our culture.
Kia ora. And the way ka kōtamu ngā ngutu, kind of way of talking.
Hey, especially if you're from Ngāti Hine, be. Hey, the r comes out as a l.
Yeah. I was saying to Peter, who came in yesterday, because he's Ngāti Hine, and he goes, and I go, when you come to that live, you make sure you leave that S out the door. And he goes, fine. He goes, fine, I'll come in with my L. And I go, oh, you still got your teeth. You're not more yet. Hala mai e mala.
Hala mai. Whakalongo mai.
Only the bruised nectarines for you. So, e hoa. What's a hapa reo that
Whakamārama mai a tēnei me te hapa reo.
the hapa reo, like what's a mistake in te reo Māori that you often hear that kind of maybe grinds your gear a bit?
Oh. Well, atu ki te whakahua mai ngā kupu, mai te arero Pākehā o te hunga kuare. I can't think of one off the top of my head. You're making me going into my remembrance brain.
Yes.
Not coming through on this, because I think, man, I'm a little bit of a. I'll push the narrative if your reo or if your sentence structures are a little bit out. I'm one of those guys that aki you, but then I'll reply it correctly in a more humble way so that the listener gets it or the person who said it wrong gets it, and just to allow a little bit of humility and love in that, because I remember one of my karawas saying, don't get mad at them, help them, teach them, take the time out to be able to, whakahua mai ngā kupu tika or te rere ngā kōrero tika. And so I'd be one of those people on the spot that would have a heart for somebody that was trying, and so not to whakaiti their mana.
Kia ora. Kia ora. I'm all about that whakaiti. No, I'm joking. But you're right in terms of whakatika hi ai runga i te aroha, and that whakaro about āwhina i te tangata. Āwhina e hoa ma.
Second time round, don't be āwhina though. You got to be, hey. Hey, bro,
Tai te karanga.
Hey, that's it. Tai te karanga, bro. I show you once, you get it wrong the second time. Oh.
Kia ora rā. Kia ora rā. Let me repeat myself. Now, e hoa, let's take you into dreamland. You're on the marae Aotea, and you can talk about any kaupapa that is right there in your whatu manawa. What's that kaupapa going to be?
Addressing sexual abuse. Because it's bro, the mahi that I do inside of our whare wānanga whare aio, it's freaking hideous. It's absolutely disgusting amongst our people. And I'm one to hit it on the head and be okay, let's start from the beginning. Where did this ngangara start? Because I haven't heard it in our pūrākau. I haven't heard this ngangara in our pūrākau. So I went sniffing, I went around and I was like, oh, okay, how do we approach this? Oh, we've got to go to the source. Where's the origin of where this ngangara started? And then me and a couple of my mates, we went and done some research. Oh, yeah, it started in the boys' homes, those ipuni homes. Oh, who was teaching them? Oh, the priests were. Oh. And then the priests were getting protected. And then that behavior was already so embedded and imbued in our people. And then they took that home and obviously took it onto the marae and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So first, to be able to bring a kaupapa so strong that gets swept under the carpet a lot for our people. It's bringing light to it and not shaming our people, whether you're perpetrator or victim, because remember, perpetrators were once victims too, and that cycle kind of just repeats itself. But a lot of our people don't like going back to the marae because they're scared of that one thing. Hey, there's a fair base for the majority of our people. And, you know, for us, I'm all good. I can walk into any of my marae and be all good. And but for a lot of our people, there's a massive, massive fear in that stuff. And I suppose it's easy to be able to talk to because I see it every wānanga. I run 4 wānanga a month, and that seems to be the biggest topic that keeps coming out over and over, which is a fair base for our people to reconnect into their Māoritanga, because they view Māoritanga as alcohol abuse, drug abuse, violence, sexual abuse, anything to do with abuse. That's what they've pictured. That's what Māori must mean. And that's those 70s, 60s, 50s babies that came out of that generation. So that's one kaupa I want to slay, bro, in terms of opening up something on the Aotea to kind of sort of put some perspective and some tikanga around it to help heal that mamai within our people. And I think we might get a little bit more vibrancy for the next generation that won't be carrying that amount of fear. Because I don't want my kids to be able to sniff that stuff. You know, that's one thing that kills a person's soul, eh?
Massive.
Sorry, bro, it's a bit deep.
No, let's go there. We go there. Massive. I love that. I love that you brought that up. I love that was your kaupapa that's right there, stuck in there, and you've got a purpose and you've got a reason for it. So that we're going to go through different flows of this kōrero. Sometimes we're going to be cracking up, and sometimes we're going to go deep in the hole. We're going to go deep in that awa. And I'm here for it. But that's cool, my bro. We're sort of going to tap on the same sort of, I wouldn't say the same sort of depth, but I would like to pick your brain on some of these kōrero that I know are quite prevalent on the TikTok. Should Wahine be allowed to speak on the marae?
Ooh, you went there.
Oh, look, let's go. Hold on. Let's go back to, because I know that these things can be confronting for some of our viewers.
I love it. Yeah, I love this kōrero.
So let's reiterate the rules of the space. This is the wānanga space, and this is about us being able to tap into the whakaaro of our interviewees whether you agree or you disagree. Let's go back to
Mm.
our whakatauaki, or whakatauki rānei. Tō piki amo kura nōu, tōku piki amo kura nōku. We have different houses of learning. And whatever answer they come up with, we will respect.
Mm. So respect the se te whānau. Taku whakatau e hoa, kao. I am against it. Not to whakaitia wahine that are so paramount on our pohiri processes. But the tapu that gets put on Te Umu Pukapuka o Tūmatauenga, I have seen it with my own eyes, and it is a whare tangata killer. It will kill the insides of that ahurutanga of our most purest state of being, which is our wahine, nā te tapu o te wahine. Nā, you know, if you kind of sort of understand the challenges that get met in that space, it's ruthless. It's ruthless. Some would say it's more ruthless than the physical fight, that the spiritual warfare that happens in that space, if provoked, that would be an automatic killer for your line. And not only that, it has DNA particles inside of that space that is sometimes can be not unbound or unchanged, and that's a safety reason for, you know, men to take that mantle, but the women also have their mana as well in terms of stimulating that space, but from a more graceful perspective. And the first voice in the first call, mai te kaikaranga, is one of the most powerful passages that you can enter into, as it was the woman who was chosen to bring life from the spirit world to the physical world. And us tāne, we are the space holders of that mantle, and that space for us in the physical that can be transmuted through wairuatanga is definitely the marae atea. And mā te wahine e whakatauria atu ana i ngā kōrero, if they get a little bit heated out there, I love that it's a woman's touch that can just settle that and be like, hey, I'm just going to control this right now, right here in this moment. So we all have our place. But I understand, you know, some iwi have their own tikanga, and I'm all good with that too. Like if I go down to Ngāti Porou and a wahine stands up, I'm not going to have an issue with it. But if you're in my iwi or you standing next to me and you get up and you called it on the thing, man, I'm jumping in. I'm cutting that, because I know I'm standing in that same wairuatanga with you, and that altar it's pretty much like a ahurewa. And that ahurewa tapu, you got to know the road code. If you don't know the road code, you don't know what you're doing, you put everybody in trouble. So yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a spiel out of what I've seen and what I've heard. So my understanding of it is there.
Kia ora rā. Kia mohia mai te iwi. I'm not only from the hononga between Kahungunu and Rongo Mai Wahine, but I also come from te whanau Arua Taupare, Hine Tāpora, Hine Amaru. Strong women. We can agree to disagree on this kōrero, but we respect each other's opinion.
Kia ora rā.
Tēnā koe e hoa I e rā kōrero. Ai, I rukuhia hohonutia koe, e koe, I ngā take, I ngā pūtake rānei, o taua kōrero. Thank you for sharing that kōrero. Because I believe you are the first so far to say no. But for for absolutely reasonable and understandable reasons. Yes, you know what I mean.
Don't get me wrong, I've got nothing against wahine wanting to speak up. You know, I've seen Rhonda Tibble get up there and challenge her. I studied with Rhonda, and she's she loves to tautohe, eh? And I love her. I love her for it. And you know, we even had this conversation in one of our wānanga too. So I respected her version. And like you say, as long as it's respectful and no one's trying to get there to chop each other's knees off.
That's the one.
Everything.
Here we go. Should drill be compulsory?
In Aotearoa, in Kura, or let's get specific?
Let's get specific. All kura, all high schools, all primary schools, kindergartens. Yeah, specific as it gets.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's safe to do so at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
just because the level of respect for our reo is not at the level that it should be in this day and age, especially by we still got a lot of kakifero around, bastardizing our culture, and I wouldn't want a taonga to go anywhere near that generation. This younger
Mm.
generation is, I'm loving what I'm seeing. You know, I've got a lot of mates in the Pākehā schooling system, mainstream system, and they teach a waiata, and the kids love it, and there's this aroha for it. Hey, if you've got the love for it, yeah, fire. If you don't got the love for it, oh, I'm all about protecting our assets, and our reo is a big asset for us, and it's making sure that it falls into the right hands.
Kia ora. You will also be the first person who's asked at what period of time do we start this? Because I actually agree with that, Vicaro, that we need not only a bit of time to get rid of a generation, but also um, the resources appropriate to create the infrastructure. And that looks like a hell of a lot of money to increase cultural capability and capacity for
Mm,
our teachers, right? So that's a hell of a lot of money and actually a few more years down the line. Because you're right,
mm,
given the situation now, completely opens the door for bastardization of the reo,
mm.
right? Because we aren't in control of the narrative. But ideally, that investment happens now so that 3 years, 5 years from now, we've got
Oh,
that
no.
infrastructure. Ah,
Oh, no. It's a
and then
succession plan, eh?
yeah, and then because some of the problems that people see in it is that it's that very thing about resourcing and bastardization. Well, let's just heal those things and then we can get into it.
Well, I think that's the only way we can move forward as a culture and as a
Yep.
nation between Pākehā and Māori. I'm Pākehā and Māori, and I feel like I'm a fusion of both worlds. If I can't walk comfortably in both worlds, I am not adding value to the concept of two cultures living in one land. And I believe that
Mm.
I'm taking that responsibility on respectfully, by learning how to articulate myself in both languages so I can walk competently in both cultures and both worlds. And as a fusion of that genetical makeup, um, yeah, it's about making sure that you understand the timelines and the succession plans, and everything's divine timing, etc., like that, etc. But we've just got to make sure that we do it appropriately and measure it appropriately, because I think the thing we should be shoving down everyone's throats at the moment is New Zealand history, is te whakamenenga, is te tiriti o Waitangi, is the historical events of pastime trauma. And unless we heal those things, we'll never move forward in that same direction. So I'm of that state of mind anyway, bro.
Kia ora. And we are into it. We've had a corridor about this concept of tapu. Now we're going to probably go back deep into the awa. And it was about, I don't know whether you saw this corridor, but it was about not reciting karakia, not reciting whakapapa at the dinner table because of, as what Te Wharehua Milroy says, kei te kai au I o tipuna, or tupuna, as he would have put it.
Mm, mm.
Have we lost the sanctity of tapu?
Oh, yeah, I think we're flirting with the lines with it. I don't necessarily feel like me and my whānau have lost that. We are very clear on whakatapu and whakanoa processes. But yeah, definitely we're one not to speak whakapapa around the kai table, we're one not to speak whakapapa around any alcohol or drugs. Um, and that's kind of a basic law that we have in our whare. And it's safekeeping as well. I understand the Pāpā Wharehuia Milroy. I understand his concepts and his philosophies around that. I was brought up with it, so I make sure that I understand it fully first, but I have seen some loosely translated kōrero being thrown around when the bro's on the terps, and what I've seen come out of there is tupuna warfare. Tupuna warfare comes out, my tupuna wasted your tupuna, and then those descendants start having a big scrap, nearly trying to kill each other off. And pērā tupuna ki te whakapapa me ngā kōrero tapu I runga I te tepu. Yeah, I get what he's saying, and totally agree with it.
Yeah, I'm just like, when I'm thinking about it, we are growing and we are evolving as a people from the mamai that we've experienced. Not only, look at the implementation of legislation, just a whole lot of things. And now we're coming in and to this new age, and we're starting to connect to our reo, connecting into our tikanga, and we're moving at a mass, right?
Mm.
And there's now these kōrero that are coming back. And this kōrero, because I hadn't heard this kōrero about the tapu and not saying it in the whare kaiwa, the tepu, until that kōrero. But I understand why they would have said that, why he would have said that. And I think that if there's opportunity for us to acknowledge those practices, acknowledge those that tapu, why wouldn't you? I mean, now we've got more so now and again floating tikanga where we just, we like this because we like this. We, in our heart, we think it's all good, but we're probably not thinking about Te Awairua as much as well. So I just think when we have those things and we can strengthen those things, then why the hell not? It's not hard to walk away. Anyway.
Kia ora. Feel your passion.
Let's hear this one. You need to speak to reo Māori to wear moko kanohi. What was that?
Yeah, that was a transitional thought. I think that reo was only one strand of who we are as a people.
Kia ora.
And I've seen some boutiers, people that are matatau and tikanga, but no reo. Do they deserve to work because they can't speak the mother tongue? I've seen some back-end kitchen workers that will slay that kitchen in Manaki tangata like you wouldn't believe, but can't speak the reo. Do they get shortlisted and processed and thought about? To me, it's about service of people and how you acquire. I mean, I think you can kind of sort of contribute to your reo Māori journey. And we've got to remember the historical events that we've come from and the abuse and that we've suffered over time. So we can't kind of blame it on any individual, but if they feel the calling our wairua and something else is speaking through them, that we become the embodiment of wearing our tupuna on our face. To me, I've just given my spirit a face. That's what it is for me, and how I encompass that and how I grow into that. That's my responsibility to keep developing my mother tongue, to keep developing my concepts of who I am and where I belong, but to obviously be of service is a big thing for me. And to me, you're a star in my eyes if you manaki tangata, if you're somebody that looks after people. Man, I'll hold you in high regard. So that's my opinion on it.
Whoa, man. Yes, you're wearing your spirit on your face. But I have never heard that one before. Service. Whoa. So simply put. Service. Kia ora rā.
Yeah.
What does tino rangatiratanga look like to you?
And right now?
In whatever concept or situation.
Broken at the moment. The concept of it is broken. And I look in the whakapapa of tēnei kupu ko te ranga. I'm a wete kupu whala. I know there's heaps of people that don't like wete kupu, and there's this old bloody hoo-ha, and I'm just like, I find the deeper meaning when I can source the information of how these kupu were composed. And I look at that word ranga, and I see it atua name ranga mau mau, iahu mai a ranga mau mau mai a iomatu te kore, tēnā wānanga. And he is the creator that holds distance of gravity, low density and gravity down on the kauwairaro. So I look at that particular type of ranga, the space holder that allows the infusion of all of our elements to combine together. And it is created through the hau, the wai, the ahi, and the papone. And so when those elements are fused together, we've got our own real Captain Planet going on here, kōrero going on here. But when I understand what ranga and that tira is all about, it's about the binding of all things that we are a part of. We are genetically made up of atoms, and atoms grow in multiplicity and multiple ways. We are part of that multiverse. So we are part of everything, and everything is a part of us. But at the moment, we have broken chambers and divided sources that don't allow us to become one. Even living in our own two separate houses, we're divided. Where in the Irotui Rao Mua, we were village people. So we knew what it meant to be a part of everything, and everything was a part of us. So that rangatiratanga at the moment is a broken force, which obviously is something that we'd love to see work in the future. And I think we're kind of slowly, again, we're working towards it takes a village to raise a child type of concept, which means that hopefully one day that rangatiratanga, the mana of rangatiratanga, will again be awoken.
Kia ora. Kia ora rā. Meke. Absolutely Meke. You've done well so far. You've done all right. Look at you. Saying that you all are my and nervous, and you've dropped some bombs on us tonight. You know what you've done? You've dropped some Randy Savage elbow drops.
Yeah, I love
Hulk Hogan leg drop.
Oosh.
Bang. The rock bottom, the people's elbow.
Hey.
And I'm hoping that at the end of this, you will deliver a Stone Cold Stunner. Greatest lessons learned.
Greatest lessons learned. Man, that's another tricky one because I've got so many. Greatest lessons learned.
Just chuck us any of them, actually. There's no need for the greatest.
Oh, yeah. Always put the toilet seat down as one. Because you do not want to piss the wahi now of the whare, you know? To me, the
right. So happy wife, happy life.
Happy wife, happy life. Keep that flowing. Oh, man, just be the example you never saw. Yeah, something like that. I draw from inspiration from a lot of our stalwarts, but now I've got to embody it. It's all about application, eh? Application. Don't be a whakaputa mōhio. Don't be a knowledge holder, and knowledge is power, and don't know how to use it. Yeah. And I like this one. Keep it simple and do it fucking well.
There you have it, Etiwi. Doitza.
Hey, execute excellence inside of simplicity and do it well.
Oh, execute excellence inside of simplicity and do it well. Is that a Bret Hart quote?
Sounds a bit William Wallace-ish.
Oh, William Wallace, okay. Cool. Why do you think Te Reo Māori is important, if you do?
Oh, ko te tātai o te reo, I think it's absolutely important. Ko te tātai o te reo. We've got to remember as well. Man, I keep going honu with this kōrero, bro.
No, keep going. Do it.
That our Pākehā whanaunga of that time, those ancestors knew if they were going to kill the language, they would kill the culture. And that's why mum and them were beaten for it, eh? That to kill our culture, they needed to kill the language. So they brought in that act, in the Native Schools Act. And not long before that, Tohunga Suppression Act and the Dog Tax Act, and all of these different acts that were going on for our people. And then we were becoming homeless in our own land. So I think the reo is the greatest healer to revitalize our culture again. And it's going to be the savior for our people. So the more people keep breaking codes and entering into themselves with the mother tongue, you will be the hero of your line.
That's a bit of a stone cold stunner. Goals for your reo for the future?
Goals for the reo. Oh, to be rumaki in my whare, definitely.
Kua rumaki?
Definitely to, I'd say maybe 3/4 in our whare. We're nearly there. But it's a goal of ours. So, both the tamariki, both the boys, mum's nearly there. And if we can get our house sorted first, and then we can branch out. And obviously, ensuring that all of the place names in Aotearoa get pronounced properly is a big one for me.
Kia ora. What challenges have you faced with raising your children in te reo Māori?
Oh, TikTok, that's where my baby learned how to speak English.
Look, they got American accent?
Yeah, American accent. That's how we started speaking.
Straight up.
Yeah. And
Koe
that
ki te
was
au
one
tēnā.
challenge that I had to knock it straight. Because they get they get a hiding if they speak English at kura. Hey, so the times are reversed that he feels he's been hard done by. So I take the same stance here at home. I'm like, kōrero Māori, baby. And even when we're out in public, kōrero Māori. I think if we can normalize it in, our people's ears and people's faces, they're just going to have to get used to it.
That's absolutely right. And, I've got a little white boy as a son. Love with all my heart. And just to hear him speak to reo Māori out in public, it's beautiful.
Well,
and just to see those Pākehā people seeing my son speak to reo Māori, actually probably just thinking he's speaking gibberish. Oh, it feels good. It feels good. But what I've been told, right, because I've split with my partner, and she's Dutch, so we've got a bit of a 50-50. So when they speak, when they have when they're with their mother, they speak Dutch, and it just blows my mind that as soon as they come to me, they're close to 3 years old, they switch their whole āhuatanga to speak te reo Māori, and I don't understand it. I don't know how they can be so clever.
Yes.
But that's just probably bias.
Yeah, totally. We've got to be to our babies. Mean.
Oh, yeah.
Mean.
But it is hard. And I wanted to, because I've got cousins that they've been through a cousin that's been through the panekiretanga, and she had told me about the challenges that she had faced, about her girl not wanting to speak te reo Māori. And I think that's probably been quite a running theme, is that they don't want to learn their te reo Māori, even though there's a real effort to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a hard one. It's a hard one. It's one of those things where you do you force this? Do you force it? Because they're going to thank you for it later. So I'm of that whakaaro. They're still at an age where they're sponging everything up, so I just force it. I force it in there. I like to say, you're going to thank daddy for this when you get older.
Kia ora. Kia ora. And then I'm going to force those piano lessons, and I'm going to force those guitar lessons as well. My nephew was saying that same thing. He goes, Uncle, he was talking about his sister learning the piano. And I go, you get in there too. I'm telling you, you were going to regret it when you get older, and then you can't play an instrument. You are just useless. You're useless as an adult if you can't play the piano.
Hey.
Well, we've come to our final question. Favorite kapa?
I
You can
would
name as
say
many
of
as you like.
all time, yeah. I'm pretty biased. I think I'm not like a kapa haka what do you call it? I don't want to say that word. You know, when you
Connoisseur.
bounce from hey, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
bouncy ball.
But obviously Wakahuia is a
Mm.
childhood ropu, and I'm talking about the 90s, 90 the 90, 92, 94, 96 bracket. 98 was all right. The 2000 lot, you know, way before my time. And so, you know, you dream of going, wow, man, there's like the superstars of the superstars. And obviously, you know, you get inspired. But it wasn't until I met Baby's mum that I was like, oh, shit. Um, yeah, what's going on here?
Mm.
And had to just follow suit. And before you know it, I was humble enough to be able to walk through the doors of Te Wakahuia and yeah, hopefully added value into that space anyway, performing on stage. But Atu Tera, big fan of Papatuki, big fan of his leadership, real big fan of his leadership. I trained for about a year under his Maurako Wānanga, Matataki,
Mm.
and yeah, just the knowledge bombs that he would drop as well, and obviously Papa Wets as well, being in Te Mātarai this year was
Mm.
yeah, it was different, man, because that fella, he writes like 10 different whakeiki, and you got to learn all of them, and then he'll choose which one you're going to do, like a week out. He does crazy stuff like that, man, so I love his style. I love that, you know, he kind of pumps the narrative of kōrero through you, and then whichever one resonates with him best, that's what he's going with. So I love his processes. I love Te Mātarai style. Um, and whangara for the East Coast teams, I always love Papa D. Papa D's he was gangster this year. Man,
The old
you see him walk
linguini.
off like, and then
Yeah, he
behind
was
the more
doing the old
TNT, he
Vince
grabs a
McMahon.
drink.
He was doing the
Hey,
big Vince McMahon with the big cojones.
yeah, hard,
He was doing that
hard.
walk
He
with a
was,
bit of Conor McGregor linguini.
hey. And
Yeah,
then on the
another.
more TNT, he cracked the coldie. Cracked the coldie
Yeah.
and had a drink.
Half time, eh? Done
Half
the
time,
whakaeke,
mate.
done the
It's
hard
like,
part.
hey, now I'm going to juice up. Juice up.
You know,
Yeah.
need to be hydrated.
Hard out. Hard. And I love Angi 2's entrance. I love their entrance into Te Matatini. I love their entrance into, you know, Brother General, he's a quality leader. Obviously, he's been in and around Waiorea in the past decade or so, so he's had a training field, and now he's ready to unleash on this Pakeke stage, which, you know, too much, bro. Awesome in the way that
Mm,
he's involved Pere and Tuhoi and allowed them to be themselves,
yes.
you know, and found a place for them because they struggled with that, eh? They struggled with
Mm.
finding their place, but they've just made a huge statement, and I thought that was awesome. And love Ngāti Whakaue's, you know, that you fellas too, eh? You Whakaue?
I'm
Love
absolutely
Ngāti
Ngāti Whakauē.
Whakaue's, hey. And I love there was some guy on TikTok going, hey, Ngāti Whakaue's in the finals. What? They went to Matatini. We don't just make up the numbers anymore. Oh my gosh. And he was going nuts for that. And to
I
me, I'm
saw
just like,
that.
I love what it brings in people. Eh? It brings hope. It brings
Yes.
life. It lifts the spirits of our people. So I love all kapa, but you know, those are probably my standouts.
What I really appreciated about Whakauē was the just the beauty in its simplicity, as we've sort of touched on as a motif in this kōrero,
Yeah.
but also their acknowledgement of, you know, Korobom and our 2-8
Yeah.
battalion. That
Kia ora.
motif of that was, and actually harking back to previous performance as well, they're really strong on the acknowledgement of, you know, those hoia, o te
Yeah.
Hokowhitu atu, o
Yeah.
te 2-8
Uh-huh.
Māori battalion, and I just love it. I love that they can bring this old style and bring it into a space where it actually felt refreshing.
Totally. Totally. Totally.
So yes,
And
I'm
even
absolutely Ngāti Whakauē.
their acknowledgement to Waimarama. You know, they went down and done a waiataringa to ngā te kaungunu wai marama and that kōrero, I just think they nailed it on the head and executed really, really well. Simple as whakeke, but effective. The effects of it was like every little kid singing that whakeke now.
Yeah.
It's effects. Yeah. Love it.
Cool, my bro. Felt very honoured to have you into the space, my friend. And to be able to, I suppose, offer us a different perspective in terms of these questions and these answers, because what I get concerned about sometimes is the monotony of the questions, but also I ensure that I do my best to just try and listen as well as I can. With your perspective in terms of, with things, it's brought in a new dimension, it's brought in a new element into our space, and that is me aro koe ki ngā awe rua, ko te ao kiko kiko, ai, ko te ao wairua, ai. So yes, I've been absolutely blessed just to spend this time, and now we get to keep this as a treasure for anyone that is going to follow my YouTube page. And you can go back and you can rewatch this kōrero and connect back into that taha as a reminder. Nā reira e hoa, ni ka kera ngā mihi o ka huranaki, kia koutou mā I titirangi I Waitakere, ki te wai ohua. Koutou mā e noho I te wao tapunui a tāne. Tēnei au e hoatu au I aku whakamiha kia koe I tēnei wā. Mou I toha toha, mou I tuari au kōrero, hei kai mā te hinengaro. Nā reira, kāre e oti aku mihi kia koe, e hoa, yeah, that was massive.
Ka hoki rua ngā mihi kia koe te niho tete. Tēnā koe me tēnei taumata I hanga ai e koe. Mō mātou. Mō mātou ngā pia, ngā api nei e āta whakaro I ēnei pata pātai. Me te mohio iho ko tēnei ao tonu, kai te hūnukunuku, kai te hūneke-neke. Haunga rā ko tēnei tētahi o ngā taumata mō tātou tiwi Māori ka whākine atu ana heaha te aha. Me te mohio iho, ko tō iho pūmanawa tētahi o ngā tino mea e rangona mai tēnei mea te tinana me te kiko. Me rongo kātika. Nō reira, ka hoki rua ngā mihi.
Kia ora rā. Nā reira ka whakakapi tātou I tā tātou wānanga mā te karakia. I go back to our kōrero at the start e hoa. And when I was doing this presentation of karakia, what I wanted to express to them is that karakia does not need to be elaborate. Karakia does not need to be a list of, like it doesn't for me, it doesn't need to be an exquisite piece of reo. What it needs to be, what it means for me is that it has intention. Nā reira ka whakakapi ahau I tā tātou wānanga. Ki runga, ki raro, ki roto, ki waho, ki hei Māori ora.
Kia ai o te pō.
Kia ai o te pō e hoa. Māori ora ki a koe.
Māori ora. Oh, that was mean, brother. Joyce, I'm probably not going to have a moi tonight, so thank you for that wānanga.
I will be rewatching this not too long from now. That was awesome.
Journey well, my bro. Journey well, and hopefully see you at the airport next time, as that seems to be a common place for you and I to hongi no kongi.
I will not bring in no kungi. So the only one that is going to bring a kungi is that. Do we have accuracy here in Kahungunu? Hence the flat nose. Now, when you're down here, because I do see you floating around here, you give me a bloomin' call.
Yeah, bro.
And let's go get a car. My shout.
Yep, that's us. You ride Harleys?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I can ride a bike. I can ride a push bike.
I got a spare bike in my garage down there, bro.
Ay.
You come ride with me. Tawa tēnā. See you next week. Nui te aroa, Maverick.
Nui te aroa e oa. Mean.
Ei konala.
Wow. That was mean. Let's go back to some chair. Bro, that was... I must say, though, I had the same feeling that I have right now as I had with Tūterangi Whiu on Online Reo Agency when he was interviewed in his patapatai. I felt power, man. And right now, I feel the power again. I feel very inspired. And I hope you feel inspired. Right, boys, NZ? Yeah, I could feel it powering me up. That felt like Tans Toots, it's in my bio. It felt like seeing what you know over again. It was very yummy. Thank you, Vision. You guys, you mods are real on at the moment. So I thank you guys. I thank you guys for taking care of the space in there in Ngā Muka Kōrero. And just to say that for anyone that does come in here and you're getting a bit disappointed that we don't answer your part-time, we can't always get onto those because we have to keep... I'm always constantly thinking about the flow of the kōrero. Like, I don't want to go hard out into pūrākau, into what's your favourite kai. You get me? Oh, massive anaru. And I'm proud of you. I'm serious. I'm proud of you for jumping on that on with Tūterangi Whiu. And you know what? Because I've been seeing him copping a bit of rubbish, this is Tūterangi Whiu, about people not wanting to pay for his service, I'm going to advertise for his service on here. His service is Online Reo Agency. It doesn't cost a hell of a lot of money. He's catered it to be not so expensive, cheap on the pocket. Go and sign up to that course. The guy is already posting daily on his page free information about how you can connect to Te Reo Māori. And why not big up a man who, like, why not? I mean, I don't see it as a charity or anything. I just think it as like, man, let's like celebrate brown excellence. Not government funded. It takes a lot of time and energy to do what he does. Hell yeah. Far out, man. I'm actually quite disgusted in like them trying to bring him down. Cool, Ellie. Love that you do that. Massive. Kia ora. I know that I think that there's something going on there, but I want to have a bit more time before I have my tamariki. Let's help our people. So yes, when I saw that kōrero about him, having to defend his service, man, I think any opportunity to like not have to have him carry the emotional baggage of justifying the take that he does, and for someone else to wear that as well as him, seeing the beauty and the kōrero and the kaupapa that he's trying to carry, it just seems like he might be alone in this, but hell no, let's not leave him out to dry. Let's not let it be a lonely process for him. Like for someone to dedicate a business to increasing people's reo, not many people want to do that. Yep, so send over some hearts or something, some love into his kōrero, whatever you need to do. You're right, he ain't alone. Ai, tika tau. We won't let him, and, you know, he's no doubt got a... Just do you, cuz. Can you settle down? Where did you come from? No. Oh, you must have been one that had a go. You must have been one that had a go at him. And it's been put in your place now. No. Then why are you telling me what to do? You do you, my bro. So, ete iwi, that is our final interview for the week. I have 100%, 1000% enjoyed the interviews that we've had this week. Starting off with Jess on Tuesday. Let's just actually use this as a chance to recap on that kōrero. And then we'll go to Peter, and I'll recap on Ngāti No after. But cool. Jess's kōrero. Her biggest challenges is her own laziness. The big challenge is trying to keep... She gets so hard there saying that. The big challenge is trying to keep yourself accountable to yourself. So work into your daily routines and rituals something simple that will help you on your own journey. Start slow if you need to. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Cool user, Ingwa. If you did not teach your tamariki at home, who else is going to teach them? Don't rely on anyone else to do it for you, not to say that you can't learn it. She will be on there at the moment, the Tūmatawhero. Her one is so good. So good. Ensure that you are getting your kōrero from a credible source. While Wikipedia and Google is a source, there is nothing better than kōrero from a range of your kauheke. Ensure that the narrative is correct. Now, just tying that into what we've just heard, from Ngāti No, there is a place where we can learn te reo Māori in the taiao. You know, being connected to our environment. That's massive. Jess has kept her word by providing us a list of resources that you can start your journey on. So if you want to, you know, learn online, you can learn from the comfort of your own home. Kia ora rā. Yes, and if you can, Tiwi, Vision has just given us a couple of accounts that we'd like you to follow. Raukura is starting to post now, so she's not leaving that all on me. And Koka Mahina is only about 80 followers away from being able to go live. But I would love if we can get them into our next week kōrero. I'm not sure what next week's going to look like because I am traveling. I am firstly away in Auckland, and then I'm going to be away in Wellington on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. User Ingwa, the links to the website is on YouTube. Oh, sorry, my bio. So go onto my account. It will show you where the YouTube connectors, and that will link you onto those kōrero. Yeah, far from start to finish. Peter was incredible yesterday, just so good. We had a whakatauaki from one of our followers actually. Ki te kore ngā ko nui ai ki ngā kura kariro, ki te kore e kai I te pai haumiti ka kore e ea. Which was, oh hell, what was that? Without commitment, you won't start. Without discipline and consistency, you won't finish. Whakatauki was whākinahua. So there you go, tūmatawhero. Or puruhet. Puruhet. Take hapa on the chin and move on. Because you may be interested to know there, tūmatawhero, but I made 3 mistakes that night. One was, we were talking about the start, and I says, tū whera ia tātou. Huakina tā tātou nei hui. Kia tū whera ia tātou. Yikes. Jess had also called me out on saying whāngaid. Best to do the course or private lessons? I don't know. Honestly, what do you think? What do you think will be best for you? I think that will be a really good part-time to yourself. Best to do the course. If it was me, I would probably feel more comfortable with other people around me, so that I don't have the weight of people's expectations, of like their expectations. But now, if I'm in the space, I would absolutely occupy a one-on-one space for the kaiako or tohunga. Her word was koromaki, which means obsessed. But I chose that one for her. Greatest lessons learned was not everyone comes in with good intentions. So, I can't capture everything because I have to remember the whole thing. So I just try to pick out what I can remember. Peter's kōrero was, like many of our interviewees, he was raised in Te Reo Māori, but the space that he was brought up didn't allow him to connect to his ao Māori. He learnt a bit later on in life. Did that even make sense? I don't know. They have a hapua roto in Ngāti Hine, which they're completely gatekeeping the rest of Ngāti Hine by saying hapua roto. Yes, I'm having a go at you. But we're all cousins, eh? Because I'm Ngāti Hine. And you cannot deny me of my whakapapa. Yeah, that's pretty cool, Ari and Rens. That you find the commonality. Yeah. But honestly, I was buzzing. Buzzing from that kōrero. Whakananua te mātauranga ki te wihi o ngā atua, hei kōrito e putake ai te tino tamaiti Māori. Instill the combined knowledge of our ancestors to imbue the nucleus. I know, I'm trying to check in a word there. To create a nucleus for the optimum Māori child. Yeah. So we're going to try come back on Tuesday. You will be notified as per my regular notifications, I suppose. Yes, kia ora rā. From Te Ao Pōuri. Pōuri. Kia ora, Rob. Rob, boys, I ain't seen that one before. Lot to sit and think about. E hoa mā. Spend some time with yourself. Spend some time for yourself. Look after yourselves. Take care. Have a great weekend. Ka pai te mutunga wiki. And we come back next week with a vengeance. But actually, just so that I can say this as a preface to this kōrero, this is scratching the surface in terms of learning te reo Māori. The real hard stuff, although this can be enjoyable, the hard stuff is actually on the grind day. And so there's going to be a time where you say, I'm not going to be in that hui tonight because I want to spend my 1 hour that I've set aside each night to learn in my book. Although, yes, I'm pushing you away, at the end of the day, we're trying to give each other feathers. Nā reira, kia taunga manaakitanga ki runga ia tēnā o tēnā tātou i te pō. Kia pai hoki ngā whakaritenga, ngā haerenga o tēnei mutunga wiki. Mihi atu ana kia koutou mā nui te aroha, tēnā tātou. Now, how do I get out? Oh. Kia ora rā.